Hey everyone, I want to introduce you today to my friend and colleague, Emma Lyons. Emma is a healer who helps people to break through the emotional blocks that keep them from taking action and living in their purpose. I am so excited for you guys to meet her. Emma, welcome. How are you today?
Hey Samantha, lovely to meet you. I'm great. I'm here in London, and right now it's raining, so couldn't even go outside if I wanted to, even if weren't the lockdown.
Well,
Um,
we're happy you're
can
here
you?
with us.
Is
Um,
the sound okay? Can you hear me all right?
yeah, we can hear you great. Thank
Yes.
you for asking.
Okay,
So
good.
Emma, would you mind sharing with us a little bit about who you are and what you do? I want my audience to really get to know you.
Oh, cool. Well, it's really great to speak to you, and thank you so much for this opportunity, Samantha. Well, my name is Emma, and what I do is I am a healer. I work with different healing kind of methodologies, and I work with people who know they have a purpose. They know they have a higher calling, and they know even what it is, but they feel blocked in fully stepping into it.
Mm.
So it's like right now it's a hugely important time for people to get their purpose out there, and this can really be an opportunity for people. But as well as the outside stuff, the blocks of having the job and the money and everything, um, a lot of times there can be a lot of inner stuff going on that really prevents us from putting ourselves out there. Traumas, from when we weren't accepted as a child,
Mhm.
also feeling really vulnerable to put yourself out there, feeling like you're going to be attacked. All of these fears, and some of them are founded in some kind of something that happened to you maybe as a child, and it can really prevent us from stepping into our power and really claiming our purpose and shining our light into the world, because that's what the world really needs now. It needs more people who are going to be shining their light out, and being an example of that for people.
I completely agree with you. I felt that so much. I feel like I can personally relate to the idea of, fear blocks kind of keeping me
Mm.
small and convincing me not to go for it and play bigger and live in my purpose. And I'm certain that my community and audience does as well. And I have to believe you've had some personal experience with that. So would you mind sharing with us what kind of led you to become a healer? What inspired you to take this path?
Well, I mean, I was on a personal healing journey. I mean, I was on the way. I always knew that I wanted to help people, right? So I was on the path to becoming a human rights lawyer. That was the idea. I studied the human rights, then I did the law thing, and then after that, I realized, my God, this really isn't for me. And then I had I was going through a complete quarter life crisis. Same thing as a midlife crisis, but a little bit earlier, where you're like, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? I don't know why I'm here, and just having this massive existential crisis around my purpose, what I'm here to do. And that seemed to be the be all and the end all. That seemed to be it. It seemed like once I knew, then my life would be fine. Everything would be perfect. That's what I told myself. That's what I really felt. And I was putting myself under so much pressure. I was like suicidal for a long time. Life felt like it had no point. Nothing made any sense. So I started looking for something that would help me. And what I found was Kundalini yoga, which immediately started like a daily practice. And that created some kind of discipline, some kind of feeling of wholeness within myself. And I also found a healing methodology that works on kind of clearing your belief systems. And both of those things really helped me. And for the healing thing, data healing, I mean, I went into it feeling like, oh, I might as well just do this course and learn how to heal myself rather than pay someone else to do it. And what I found, to my surprise, was that I was actually quite good at it, and it came really naturally to me. So there was an ease about it, and it was about tuning into your intuition. So this was something that I was started to kind of connect with, and yeah, it flowed from there. It's really been about healing myself and getting to the bottom of that. And I mean, then after I figured out, this was what I was supposed to do. I had so many fears. I thought that was going to be the end, like I said, and it was just the beginning. I had so many fears. I had every single block that you could possibly think of. putting myself out there, and I block myself from going forward for years. And I don't know which is worse, actually. Not knowing what you're here to do and knowing that it's got to be something, or knowing that you knowing exactly what that is and knowing that you're not doing for it. I actually feel right now, maybe because it's closer to me, that the knowing what your purpose is and not doing it feels more painful. Because it's like you feel like you're letting yourself down. You feel like you've got this light to shine and that you're suppressing it. And you know that, certainly in my case, I wasn't blaming anyone else. I knew this was all my self-sabotage and all my stuff. And I did not know what the hell to do about it. And I just felt completely stuck for years. I tried all these things, went to all the courses, hired all the coaches, and nothing worked for me. So it was like massive block there. So this is what I do for others, and I understand all of these blocks so well because I've gone through them all myself. So I can really help people with that who are blocking themselves completely, so terrified to step forward, fear of the future, feeling like they have nothing to give, doubting their own value, the fears of their own visibility, and also traumas they're carrying from when they were a young child, of not being accepted, of feeling not good enough. It really comes a lot of things at the bottom. It boils down to not loving yourself and not feeling like you're good enough. So much boils down to that, Samantha.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to ask you to share with us what are some of those specific fears and blocks, and then you just kind of launched into a whole bunch of them there at the end. You know, fear of failure, feeling not good enough. What are some of the most common ones that you've seen in your clients or even in yourself?
Well, there's definitely a fear of failure. I know for me, there was this whole disappointment cycle. So I'd kind of try something and then feel disappointed. And then, I'd be spiraling around. I'd be trying the next thing, trying the next thing. This thing is going to help me. So always looking outwards for the answer outwards and thinking that person can do it. That course is going to save me. But what I was avoiding was really going deep inside myself and getting to that heart. I think that's true for a lot of people. We're trained to find the answer outside. There's a fear of success as well. The fear of failure is big. Fear of being disappointed, but the fear of success. You'd be overwhelmed with people. How am I going to deal with all of these people who are going to come to me? I'll never be able to help them. It's going to be too much for me. I can't handle it. What else? Yeah, being visible, putting yourself out there as a healer or as, a light worker of some kind. These are the people that I want to work with, people who know they have some kind of important light to bring the world. But feeling like people are going to judge you, what are they going to burn you for being a witch or something? And a lot of these things are really, really deep in the subconscious, Samantha. So it's not like people might not even be aware that they're there at all. They might just be feeling this, this terrible fear, or they might just be feeling like it's not working for them and not have a clue as to why that is.
Absolutely. So that, I think, brings up a really interesting point, is that a lot of these fears, they're most powerful because they operate in the subconscious. We're not actively aware of them. So how would someone in my community know it's time for me to contact Emma? I need her help. What do people look like kind of at the beginning of their journey with you? And then what do they kind of look and feel like at the end?
Well, at the beginning of their journey, they're feeling very blocked. They're feeling like they know that there's something there that they should be doing. They know what it is even, but they're frustrated. So feeling of frustration, a feeling like I've tried a lot of things and things not working, I think is quite typical for many of my clients, of the people that I've worked with. And then, the work that we do works really deep in the subconscious, getting to all these fears, which I think, you can have all the tools and all the techniques and know how to do all of the business funnels and everything. But if you don't have the right subconscious stuff going on in the background, you are always going to sabotage yourself. So typically, like for this kind of self-sabotage, maybe you try to start something, you do, and you kind of fail, something happens and it doesn't work for you in the end, especially if you have a lot of those kind of things going on. That's usually a subconscious block that you've got going on, where you're sabotaging it for yourself because you're afraid of what will happen if you get there. So a pattern like that would be quite typical. Yeah, and what else? Like frustration, really someone who's ready, to do the work and is
Yeah,
looking for someone to take their hand and go through it with them. This is not learning the funnels or the techniques of how to market yourself. This is about what I do is I help people do the inner work, the really deep, the trauma stuff, the inner child stuff. And that affects everything. Unless you have that sorted out, none of the other stuff, in my experience, is going to work for you. No matter how much money you pay, no matter what kind of healers or high-end people you go to, you're always going to end back in square one.
absolutely. You are preaching to the choir. I'm with you 100%. I like personally don't believe that there can be any lasting outer transformation. So transformation in your career, your business, your finances, without the foundation of inner transformation. That you have to start on the inside and then the outside comes to match it, not the other way around.
Yeah, and people are afraid of that. People are
Mhm.
afraid of going inside. People are afraid of getting quiet.
Yeah.
And as well as we're going through a very challenging moment at the time right now, as we just talked about. But the invitation is there still to go within
Yeah.
and to really start doing this inner work. That I think that's the invitation of the moment, of to find out how we're all connected, because what I really love about the work that I do is that it's kind of helping people to light themselves up, and then they light up other people, and we create this kind of continuum of light workers or lighthouses that kind of inspire. Because the more people that are stepping into the purpose, that are actually doing it, that are being on fire and unashamed about that, the more it inspires other people and shows other people that they can do that too. Because quite often we've had no models around us.
Right.
I know I didn't have any models around me who were showing that that was possible. So I just thought, my parents, they're like, oh, that's not possible. You can't do that. They just don't, they maybe don't understand. People
Mm-hmm.
don't understand what you do. So they just kind of throw cold water over your dream. And, anything is possible if you really love it, and you've got everyone has got something important to share. And if you are willing to step into that and actually do it with the right kind of mindset and the unblocked subconscious, you can achieve anything that you want. I really believe that.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. And I think one of the things that you spoke to that we might not have time to cover fully today, but that I do
Yeah.
think will resonate with my community is that feeling of what are other people going to think about me, and kind of dealing with criticism or people outside of you that you love that don't understand you and don't
Yeah.
understand your calling. And so I don't know that they always actively mean to be unsupportive. I think generally they're scared, but I do feel like a lot of people in my community deal with that, the fear of judgment or actual judgment and criticism from the
Yeah.
people they most want to support them.
Parents, I know for me, my parents, they don't understand this kind of energy work that I do, this yoga. They don't really get it. They don't understand why you would want to develop yourself personally, why you'd want to analyze things.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not at that point. And I realized some time ago that that was a major block for me, because the little girl inside me wants their approval. And they're not in a place where they can give that, because they don't understand. So I just need to what I needed to do was go through a process of of learning to approve of myself, so that I wouldn't need the approval of my parents. So you can do self-parenting. It's about loving yourself enough to let that go. This is what I help other people to work through as well. Why I'm so qualified to do this is because I have battled with it so much myself, and I really, really, really understand how painful it is.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that with us. I know, I mean, it resonates with me, and I know it's going to resonate with the community. It's just a beautiful reminder that like we're not alone, and that when you, Emma, share your story and share the pain that you went through, but also how you've overcome it, you're helping us heal too. So thank you for sharing that piece with us.
Yeah.
I'd love to get a little bit like tactical and practical. So I'd love to hear from you maybe what some of your daily practices are, the things that kind of keep you connected. Do you have anything that you do on a daily basis that makes you really connected to this brave piece of you that takes action or take care of your mindset?
That's really, really so important. particularly at the moment when people like might not have their usual routine, or
Yeah.
everything is just totally up in the air. So yes, I do. When I wake up in the morning, I go through like a meditation practice. I listen
Mhm.
to some affirmations and do affirmations. I also do a yoga practice because I'm a yoga teacher, a Kundalini yoga teacher. So at the moment I'm working with the kind of lower triangle, the first three chakras, and really so it's working on, being stable regardless of what's happening on the outside of the world. So staying stable with yourself, because all the blocks, they're going to be down there. You're in the first three energy centers in the body. That's where all your stuff about survival and acceptance all are. Everyone wants to, open the hearts, and and that's all lovely and that's all important. But if you haven't sorted out the lower three, you're really going to struggle with maintaining your open throat, your open heart, all of these things, and to keep the intuition going. And it's also going to be harder for you to be of earthly good, to ground all of those gifts that you've got. So I have a daily yoga practice, affirmations. I do some EFT. I do healing on myself on a daily basis at the moment. So I kind of use my theta healing. It's the modality that I use. I go into that and clear any belief systems that I feel are coming up for me. So, and I do morning and night. So there's continuity. I feel like that kind of bookmarks my day.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. I love that you bookend your day with kind of grounding and healing. And
Yeah.
I think it's so powerful that you brought forward the idea that working on those lower chakras gives you the ability to stay connected to the higher ones. And I think people tend to, well, at least people in my community, myself included, we spend a lot of time in our heads, or you want to be connected to spirit. But anyone who's gone through trauma, especially in their younger years, we tend to kind of cut off connection to the physical body. And doing that lower chakra work, I think, is so important for feeling safe and getting into your body and out of your head.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you, especially, and we all have trauma, I mean, in my case, I wasn't, abused as a child or anything, but it's not what happens to you, it's how the child interprets that.
Yes.
So I was a very sensitive child, so middle child, so getting ignored, feeling like you were a little bit ignored by the parents, the child can internalize that and make that mean, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough. And then constantly in my life, I was like, I have to prove that I'm good enough. I have to prove that I'm good enough. And every time I was proving myself that I wasn't. So it was going through this cycle, and that's been going on since I was, a child, really.
Yeah.
So you've got to work on the lower foundation to have the stability to bring that up and to bring it out to other people. It's no good. We've all seen those people who are totally, and they're out there, they're up with the unicorns, but they can't. It's very difficult for those people to help people because they don't have the foundation. They can't understand, what it is to have a daily life, what it is to have a family, what it is to have a job. They're like off somewhere else on some other planet, which is maybe it works for them. I'm not judging them, but it's difficult for them to help people who also have, householders. The type of yoga that I do is designed not for people to go off and live in a cave. It's designed for people with families and householders. So it works a lot on that. And also, the nice thing about the yoga that I do, there are specific sets that work to achieve certain things. So there are sets for grounding, there are sets for opening up your crown. So when I'm working with people, I give them specific meditations and exercises to do that are going to work to that end.
Oh, I love that. I love that it's done really intentionally and that you can use the yoga to support the healing, that it is a method of healing, but it's also a supportive practice to
Yeah,
reinforce the healing.
yoga is very healing, and I think yoga is something that's very misunderstood.
Mm.
People think that yoga is just a physical practice or that it's just stretching, but yoga means union.
Mm.
Yoga is about unifying your consciousness with the higher consciousness, whatever that is for you, your higher power, the universe, whatever it is you want to call it. It doesn't really matter what you call it. So it's just about, it means union, jugat. So it's about creating that union within yourself. And once you've got that union going, you can do anything. because you're connected to your higher power. You get those downloads, and then once you're aligned, I think we talked about this when we spoke before, Samantha. It's about taking aligned action.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I work with a lot with people, because there are people out there just acting on this, doing this course, that course, and taking action here, there, and everywhere. But if they're not lined up with it, it doesn't work for them. And it may have worked for 1,000 other people. But if you're not lined up with it, if you're not, if it's not aligned to your path, it doesn't quite feel right for you. It doesn't resonate with you, and it's not going to give you the results that you need.
Absolutely. I love that you touched on that, because I think that is a misunderstood concept. Like, people complain about being procrastinators. So they just like take action, and then the action doesn't work and they get disappointed. But maybe it wasn't about just acting. It was about getting in alignment with the right thing for you, the one right next step, right?
Yeah.
A guided next step by source, spirit, that union that you're speaking to.
Yeah, and it can be just a little step. So when I work with people one-to-one, they're taking action steps continually every week, and that might be, I definitely really get people to do some kind of daily practice,
Nice.
some kind of meditation thing every day if possible, or even doing a short one. It gets them, and then doing some other maybe actions that feel lined up with what we worked on in that session. So it varies, it varies from person to person. It's very bespoke, the work that I do. It goes very deep, but it's not cookie cutter. I think some coaches are working with a cookie cutter model, but I think that doesn't really work for people in real life, because everybody is so different. Everyone is so unique. Everyone has a different kind of set of traumas and fears that they've got going on. So it's looking at the one that's going to create the most impact first, and then working from there.
I love that. I was actually going to ask you, as we begin to wrap up, what would it look like if, someone wanted to reach out to you and say, hey, I feel connected to her. What does it look like to actually work with you? What does a session look like? Do you work in packages? Do you work online? Like, tell us what that might look like for a new client.
Yes, I do. I work online with people now. That's my main way of working. In fact, that's the only way I'm working right now.
Yeah.
But what the work that I do really aligns with that. So what I do is I do a sequence of sessions. I have Awaken to Your Purpose. It's the name of my package. And I work with people over, 6 to 9 weeks. We can spread it out. I'm working on building, on rooting out those traumas and creating the space for you to start fully stepping into. You're getting rid of all the blocks, getting rid of all the fears and the obstacles and the sabotage, the disappointment, anything that's in the way of you fully stepping into your purpose. And we're taking action every week. So we're doing the clearing, and then we are taking action on that. And I think that's something that's often missing. People get the downloads and then they fail to put it into action. And that's a really important step.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I think that kind of makes things a little more clear, because we've talked about the different modalities that you use. And I want people to know, like, it's not just the unseen. It's not just the subconscious work. You are also taking massive action in your life or business to live your purpose. It's a mix of the inner and the outer.
That's what it requires. It's not, living your purpose is not for the faint-hearted, especially people who are stepping in to become light workers, and people who are doing something that maybe is a little bit outside the box.
Yeah.
You need to be strong to do that. People who signed up for that mission have the strength to do that. It's just about helping people to find that strength so that they can walk that path. And they can, because if you have that, know that's inside you, you have the power to achieve it.
Yes. Oh, so beautiful. So before we tell people how they can learn more about you, is there anything else that I haven't yet asked you that you'd like to share with our audience? Anything you want them to know?
I think now it's your time to shine. It's your time personally to stop being selfish with your gift, and to start sharing it with the world. Stop hiding. This is not the time to hide. The world needs you more now than ever before. So it's time to step into this purpose. It's time to step up. And I know that it's scary, but if you have that calling, you have the power to get what you have the power to step into it. You have the ability, you have everything you need. everything that you need is already within you. It's just about you believing in that and clearing out any inner obstacles that are stopping you from doing that. Now is your time to shine and to be that lighthouse into the world.
Yes. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you for that lovely message. And last but not least, how can we learn more about you or connect with you further?
Well, probably the best way is to join my Facebook group. That would be probably the best first step. You can really start getting there. It's called the True Purpose Tribe, and Samantha, you're in there. It's on Facebook, so you can check that out. That's a very good way. You can get more feel. I do lots of Facebook lives there. I also teach some yoga on there a few times a week, and on my personal page. So if you're interested in learning more about yoga, you can go onto my personal page, and I have some classes on there, full yoga classes and meditations that you can go through with me. And the other way is you can check out my my website, which is experiencetrueself.com, and at the bottom of the about page there you can click on contact me. So that's probably another way of getting so we have two ways of getting in touch, and I would love to speak to you. I do initial consultations, so we can just kind of scope each other out and see what the vibe is like. So that's totally no obligation. And you can sign up for one of those free calls. I would love to speak to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I will get those links to the community. I'll link your Facebook group and your website. And definitely, if you're feeling called towards what Emma does, go ahead and schedule that consult, schedule that free discovery call, and feel into if this is the right fit for you. If you're someone who knows what you're meant to do in this world, but you're not doing it yet, this is your time to step up. Emma, thank you so, so much for joining us today. It was wonderful to chat with you, and we will talk to you soon. Bye
Cool.
now.
Thanks so much, Samantha.
Oh,
Bye.
you're welcome. Bye now, love.